So, YouTube, I'm excited. You should be excited too. I got a good story for you today. I think you'll like it. It's one of my most told stories over the years because it's got action in it and man, a little bit of humility. But um, anyways, I'll just get right into it. By the way, um, you see, name Hey Lovers, call me Excited Steve, Steve O, just Steve, you know, or Mr. You know. But yeah, anyways, I don't know what I just did there. All right, so the story goes. It's 2006. I think it's 7. I'm in Ramadi, Iraq, right? So this was during like the surge, and at this point in time, I am a mechanic, and what I really was a Bradley mechanic, um, and they call that an everything mechanic, and you can tell a Marine that, and they're gonna be like, "Yeah, you guys, your parts changers and all that." But anyways, that's another story about the rivalry that we have. Anyways, so 2006, Ramadi, Iraq. I'm a mechanic. I'm with one of the best teams I've ever worked with, um, and I'm with A company out there. Shout out to B company, but yeah, so we were in the thick of it. I mean, like things were happening all over the place. Mortars, people shooting guns up into the air and letting the, just trying to aim up and let the bullets hit the ground where we are at, slugs, during Ramadan and stuff like that. Um, and so, like, there was this one day where I had to switch out with somebody at another place, that was Camp Ramadi. I had to go to Cop Steel so I could replace somebody. So let me explain that. We would do switch outs every 2 weeks because you can't stay in what we would call Cop Steel for too long, or else you'd probably start to go a little bit crazy. Especially since like that was the middle of the city, like pretty much the middle of the city. When I say that, like there's buildings taller than you all around where you live. And so, that being a dangerous environment, you need to give people time to like get out of there for a little bit. So, yeah, so I had to switch out with somebody. Normally we go there. I think we did like 3 days on. No, it was like 4 days on or something like that. I don't know. It was some number of time, but when you were over there, it seemed like an eternity. You were in Cop Steel. You were just like, man, it's the closest thing you'll get to jail without being in jail, I guess. But I never been. Well, I've been detained and everything, but never been to jail or prison. So I'm sure there's similarities, though. I hear a lot of prison guys talk about that stuff. So, anyways, so let's just say this: I'm a mechanic. I gotta take this. I think it was like the box had to have been like 150 pounds or something like that, full of tools. Take my weapon, pea shooter at the time. It was a long gun. The M16A4, if I remember correctly. And so, yeah, those are the ones. And I was a short dude too. I still am. But like, you know, uh, that thing, it would just like, I'd have to strap it up so high, like on my shoulder, so the barrel wouldn't hit the floor. I'm looking crazy out there. So, um, yeah, so I get all my stuff, I pack up. I'm basically like the way that a mechanic rolls, you normally just wear set of one set of coveralls like for the entire time that you're there. Cause like if they need you to go out and get something because it's blown up or like a wheel falls off or like it's got an oil leak or something like that in the middle of the city, like dangerous, right? RPGs, you got EFPs. At that time EFPs were huge. um, you got indirect fire, you got regular rounds, like everything's happening. I mean, snipers, all that stuff, right? And so, like, I'm in these coveralls. Pretty much all I packed except my underwear and like brown shirts underneath at the time. Okay, so boom, I'm in Cop Steel, and this is the place that, man, like if you think about, and I hate to bring it up like this, but like you've seen war torn, the war torn areas that are having engagements nowadays. It looked like that, except all that was coming from us. Like we were trying to liberate the place, and like get all the bad guys out of there or whatever. And so, or at least at that time there was a lot of things going on that changed a lot of people's mind about what they're fighting for. But back on subject, um, so we're just trying to protect ourselves. These buildings, like imagine this. You seen Swiss cheese before? They look like that. They look like that. And it's funny because like even though a lot of things happen to those buildings, like there would still be people in there using those holes in those buildings as they call them murder holes, right? Like they would like point their barrel outside of that hole, whether it be a sniper, AK, PKM, if they could get that up there or whatever, and they would just be do 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 do, or just pow, you know, they're just shooting out the holes trying to hit somebody, touch somebody from afar. So, all right, I get to cop steal, and I saw a lot of things out there, but this one was like, this one took the cake for me. All right, so one day I get there, cool. I pull guard one day. That's another story I gotta give y'all. I got 10 stories I'm gonna give you over the next 10 days, possibly. All right, get there. I pull guard one day. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm playing, you know, throwing rocks at people from the tower. Get down, cool. Um, I think at this point it was like had to be like 1 or 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. Nah, it couldn't be 12 because that's prayer. So it had to be like 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon if I remember correctly. Man. And so I sit down on my cot. And if you don't know what a cot is, it's a bed, but it's an improvised bed. You can fold it up. It's like threefold, and it closes, and you can carry it around. You tie it up and you carry it around. If you don't know what a cot is, try it out one day. You might hate it, you might love it. I like to sleep with my cot without the little things on the side that keep it rigid and flat. I like mine to be sunk in so I can feel like I'm being hugged by somebody at nighttime. But hey, man, to each his own. So I was sitting on my cot, right? And it's crazy how this works, but I end up picking up this POW book. This guy, he was a contractor, and he was in Iraq as well. And I was reading his story on, you know, his life before, during, and after. And I think I had got like 3/4 of the way through, super fast, super duper fast, because like you don't have nothing else to do. Like you're either gonna watch Al Jazeera and try to figure it out, or you're gonna try to get on the internet, which at that time it was like buns. We still had MySpace, and so then yeah, I decided to pick up this book. There's like, so I'm in the room. I don't have my own room. I'm in a room with like one, two, 8 other guys. It's a small room too, but 8 people have to fit in there because we don't have that much space. So all infantry dudes. I'm the only mechanic, possibly a commo person, communications guy. Okay, so yeah, sitting there reading this POW book, get about 3/4 of the way through, something like that. And so I decided, oh, okay, I'm gonna go take a nap, you know, get some downtime. So um, I lay down for what seemed to be, I don't know, 5, 10 seconds. And so the way the room is designed, like if I'm looking at you, you're the end, like the wall, and I'm like at the door. So there's like windows on your wall where you're standing at the end, and then there's like two. I think there was 2 or 3 sets of small windows. They're like, so if I could say, I'd say like 2 books long. So they're like this, right, like that, and then like a book high or bigger. Or maybe they were a little, maybe they were bigger, but at the time everything seemed to just scrunch down, including time. So in these windows, they had these things you call sandbags. Pretty self-explanatory. You take sand, you put them in a bag. Sometimes you use them for uh, flood diversion, I guess you'd call it. Like, yeah, if you wanted to try to stop a flood from getting in your house, you could put these sandbags down there in the sand, or the bags might misdirect some of that water from coming in your house. Sand might suck it up. Those bags become waterlogged. That's one of those emergency cases. These were to protect us from bullets getting, you know, through the window, or like a rocket getting in the window. In this case, this day, I got saved by those sandbags because 3 RPG rockets hit that wall, and I think 2 of them hit my window. And if it wasn't my window, the concussion blast from those RPGs, whew, they blew those sandbags apart. But all I hear is, I'm laying down. Remember this? So I got my eyes closed. Everything's all peaceful. I should have known. Like, it was too quiet. All I hear is sand everywhere. Poof. And I'm like, I mean, like, butthole puckered. Man, you ever rode a motorcycle and then you hit that paint early in the morning and it's still cold and you haven't warmed up your tires yet and you're like, huh? And you're like, who? Oh, that butthole pucker is crazy. So anyways, I'm in bed. Right? And so then, oh man, chills down my spine. Oh God. All right. And so I see not the smoke, but the like sand just poof everywhere. And I get up and I'm like, oh, what? And then I just hear boom, boom, same wall. I'm like, oh, man, I made a noise that I have never ever made in my life. One other time I did when I hit a deer. But anyways, it was right before I hit the deer. Anyways, yeah. So I'm, oh, shoot. And so then I just kind of stand up a little bit. I'm like, whoop. And so then the dude's like, get your shit on. There's an infantry guy. He's in the back of the room, like where you are. He looks at me. He's like, get your shit on. I'm like, okay. And so then we had these things at the time. I think they were called, they weren't IOTVs. They were the ones right before that. They weren't flak jackets, because flak jackets were like, when I first got in, we had flak jackets. Those things were like, I don't know, they were like these big Teflon vests that we used to wear that really wouldn't protect, not that I know of, but that they really wouldn't protect you from a 7.62 round. So then we got something, man, I'm going to have to, I don't remember at the time, but they were just basically bulletproof vests. So you take it, you put it on like this, and then you Velcro it down with the other side. So I slapped that on. But the thing is, well, let me get through the whole thing of how that happened. I was trying to get it on, but I was so out of it and in my butthole pucker mode that I didn't know, like when you get tangled up in a shirt, I was like that. I was like, huh? And all I had to do was literally put my arm in one side, put my arm in the other, put it together. So I'm like this, I can't, I don't know what to do. I'm not saying that out loud, but that's what it feels like in my head. So I get on my knees. I'm like, I'm fighting with myself at this point. I should stayed in the game. I don't know what happened. So like while I'm on the ground, well, I'm like this. I'm like still fighting. And so then I do this sad kitty cat eye puppy dog look. I look up and there's an infantryman. He's standing right there, like right there. He came from where you're at now. Imagine you walked up to me and I'm just like this. So I do this. And so he goes, dip in his mouth. I'll tell you a story about him later too. Dip in his mouth. Rookie. So he walks past me. And so then I finally get it on. I'm like, oh shoot, mission accomplished. Oh, my helmet. I put my helmet on like, it's like crooked, sideways, backwards, something. I don't know. But I wasn't worried about the chin strap at this time. I'm like, I gotta get my weapon. Okay, cool. And so I go and grab my weapon from my cot. I see the POW book. I'm like, damn, here we go. And so I turn around. Now let's just say we switch places. Boom. I'm at the back. I turn around. Now I'm looking at the door. I look at the door. First thing I see, this shit's hit the fan. Get to the roof. So that's Tess. That's Tess. That's Tess. So Tess he's a cool dude. A lot of people would say he was slow, but he was a cool guy. He was all right. Anyways, he's right here. Get to the roof. This shit's hit the fan. He's got a shotgun. What are you gonna do with a shotgun on the roof? He's on the 3rd floor. Right. So, well, I forgot to add. shit's hit the fan. So, so, uh, what I didn't realize is that a mortar had hit the roof too. So when I went up, and what's funny is didn't have the composure to protect myself, but I had the composure to um, grab my camera. I bought this camera out of a bazaar in Kuwait, and so I grabbed this camera. I thought it was the beans. It was the bee's knees. I thought it was the shiza, right? And so I pull it out. Like I'm running upstairs. I got my thing. I'm like, I gotta record this for the people. Maybe I'll find that video someday. So I go up. I look up. I see a big hole. I'm like, butthole puckered moment. I'm like, can they get another one through there? So I get to the top. There's a balcony. Like we're pretty much on the roof. I got my camera. I look out, and I'm thinking everybody's like in these. They're doing like defensive positions, and they're like, stacking each other up, getting ready to like, just. I'm out. All the crazy stuff you see in Michael Bay movies. Nah, these boys were just standing there. They just had their guns like this, slung low, down here by their waist, just looking like, oh snap. They're looking at the chaos that's going on outside. And so I'm like, bro, you guys are gonna get sniped. And they all just look back at me. They start laughing, and I'm like, all right, whatever. So I'm like this on the floor. I ain't about to get sniped. You crazy? I look like I'm swimming. I'm the only one swimming on the roof. Everybody's standing up, walking. I know. It's like somebody who can't swim. They're just like, blah, 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 but they're in like 2 feet of water. So it's my first time, right? Really getting into that, complex ambush kind of thing. So, all right. So then I get the courage to put my arm up and then put my camera on the edge. You think I'm about to stand up? No, hell no, I wasn't ready for it. Not at that time. So what I ended up doing was turning the camera and then putting the monitor down, so that way I could watch the monitor. Trust me, I was wigged out of this whole situation. And so then, oh, funny. You ever seen the picture of that? No, never mind. That's some old school stuff from like the 80s, I think it is. But there's a picture of some dude with like a nose and like 2 fingers over a ledge or something like that. It was me. After about 2 or 3 minutes of these guys not getting their heads blown off, I was like, all right, maybe I can just get my helmet up in my eyes a little bit. So then I get my camera, helmet and eyes right over the ledge. I turn my camera like that, and I see some of the craziest stuff I ever seen in my life. Like, this solidified why I fixed the vehicles that I fixed at the time, which was the Bradley fighting vehicle, the BFE. I saw Bradleys doing monster truck rallies over cars, pushing trucks out the way, using their barrels to put holes in buildings. It was just madness. But like, there was so much going on around our area. We had to like secure the area, and there was no other way to do it except just crush everything. Like, man, it was something serious. And like, what ended up happening is I think we expanded the corridor a little bit. Like, we put more warning signs out and all that kind of stuff, right? So anyways, heats over, takes like an hour. No, it's like, I think it was like 30 minutes before we came down from the roof, something like that. So then what ends up happening is, okay, everybody goes downstairs. I come down. I think I'm like one of the last ones or the last one. Had this one leader. And at the time, like, I thought he was like a strong leader for me anyway. For me at that stage, I was. If I had been like in a different position, maybe I would have thought different. But at the time, like, I was like, yeah, this guy, I follow him. So he walks up to me like right when I get down off the last step on the first floor, the place where I was wigging out, right? I was going crazy. Comes up to me, and he's a short dude, little bipolar Filipino cat. Man, that guy, he was something else. Anyways, so he walks up to me, and he's like, hey, did you get some? And so I was like, huh? And so, I was more like, huh? And so he was like, did you shoot? I was like, well, did you shoot? And so I was like, no, I didn't. And so then he grabbed me, and I didn't think he was this strong, but he grabbed me like this, pushed me up, and I'm like, he, and so he's like, always shoot. I don't care what you got going on. You got to shoot. You know why? I said, no. He's like, because he'd like to dip too. Yeah, that's another story. So he's like, because you got to at least scare him. I mean, if you don't get ahead, at least you got to scare him. That keeps him away from us. All right? And so I'm like, he's like, get out of here. Throws me. I'm like, He's more like, So, yeah. I learned a few things that day. I wasn't as built for that life as I thought I was. Now, I mean, like this was during my second deployment. Now, the first time, like I was super young, so I was like, let's get some. The first one, and I had seen some stuff and rolled through some stuff, but I hadn't been like directly, like exactly affected by some stuff. The second deployment, man, so many times, but yeah. So I wasn't as built for that life as I thought I was, even though I had been through a first one, 13 months. This one turned into 17 months. The second deployment. The other thing I learned was that I learned a little bit more about people that can keep themselves under composure and how they do it. A lot of that is just to have a screw up mentality, for one, but two, which really came to light after that deployment, right, was like I had to be more grateful for the guys I had to my left and my right. As cliche as that sounds to a lot of people that are in the military, but yeah. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say. I'm gonna have probably about 9 or 10 more of these this month, which I've already wrote out like what I'm gonna talk about. I didn't write this for a script or anything because that's just kind of weird. It should be all natural and stuff like that. Now I'm just jabbering. Okay, yeah, again, you can call me Steve-O, Steve E, Steve, Excited Steve, or you could just call me by the title right there, you know, my thumbnail or whatever that thing is called. And yeah, see you on the next one.